What's going on, everyone? So today I've got a little bit of Gears Ultimate beta gameplay for you. This one's on Canals, my personal favourite map on Gears 1. I really love this map. It feels like forever since I've played Gears 1, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm a little rusty here. Some of you were saying you're disappointed that there's been no footage on my channel of this because some of you know how much I love Gears. It is literally my favourite multiplayer game, and I started YouTubing with Gears. But I wanted to say that even though I did start with Gears, and a lot of people who I'm still friends with now know that I'm still into Gears, I still like playing it and stuff, I don't really make content for it anymore just because I moved away from it. I sort of used to do that on another channel that I used to run with a friend of mine a long time ago, a good 4 or 5 years ago now. And it never really got anywhere, you know, it never really got any attention. And it's not because Gears is shit or the videos were shit or anything like that. It's just because there's not a big enough audience there for Gears. And hopefully these new titles that will come out will grow it a little bit, and we'll see some newer people coming into it, breathe some life into some older titles. And I did kind of want to put my 2 cents about this beta out there and just this game in general. And the first thing I kind of wanted to say is, for those of you who are wondering, who haven't played it yet, maybe some of my personal friends who haven't got an Xbox One or something, or they've gone away from gaming for a while, but they still played Xbox 360 and Gears of War, so they're curious about this game. I wanted to say that although it feels like you're playing Gears 1 movement and shooting wise, it doesn't sound the same. Obviously, as you can hear, they've changed all the sounds, which is it doesn't really make a difference to the gameplay, but those cool sounds kind of, I don't know, I miss the nostalgia boost that I would probably get from those. But it's not entirely Gears 1, and that's mainly down to the fact that on the beta, at least, we're forced to play King of the Hill on TDM. Now, again, if you played Gears 1 back in the day when it was a thing, you'll know that TDM wasn't a part of Gears 1. And King of the Hill wasn't either, although we had a game type called Annex, which is basically, it's pretty much King of the Hill, you know, it's relatively the same thing, but it was a DLC for Gears 1, and it came out a little while after the actual game came out. Gears 1 multiplayer was very much about Warzone execution, those round-based single-life game types, where you really have to watch your arse, because if you die, you're not coming back for a couple of minutes. And yeah, it's more tactical, if you know what I mean. You have to play smarter, you're forced to, you're less careless, because on this here I'm thinking, okay, we're ahead 3 lives, if I push this guy and die now, it doesn't matter. Whereas on the original Gears, you know, in that situation I'd be worried to push, because I've only got that 1 life. I've got to be careful not to frickin' die. So it kind of takes away sort of the sweatiness of it, you know. It's not as rewarding when you do something cool, if you know what I mean. It's montage players will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's sort of like when you're going for clips on a game, the harder it is, the higher quality the clips. And because like here you can see I'm beasting people, well, sort of, out of the spawn. But on the original Gears, that would rarely happen, just because by the time I'd got over to their bridge like that, the most of the team would be dead. And some people would say, oh, that's a good thing, you know, you've got more people, more opportunities to get into fights. But that's the reason, I know this for a fact, the reason people love Gears is because of that sweaty tactical gameplay, you know, where you've got to be careful. And if you were in a round and you were the last man left and there were 4 guys and you killed everyone, you felt so sick about it. Whereas on this, I kill 4 people, I'm just sort of like, meh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't feel like I've done something cool, or I've done something that was challenging. Because most of the time on Gears 1, the people you were playing on Execution and Warzone sort of knew what they were doing, but also those guys didn't want to die either, so they would try their arse off to get you, and you'd be trying your arse off to get them with your team. It was a very team-based game. But it doesn't feel like that with this. I'm a little disappointed they haven't given us one of the game types that pretty, wow, 1 shot down, made the game, you know. Warzone Execution made this game, and I think they've kind of screwed up on with that on Gears 3 and Judgment. Let's just take Judgment out of the question, because I fucking hate that game. But yeah, they did that on Gears 3. They very much went away from Warzone Execution, and that's fine. If you want to change how the game is based, as in for the newer titles, fair enough. But I think it is a little silly to sort of bring back a game and then change it, you know, like, because the people who love it, I know 100% for a fact, a lot of the people who really loved Gears 1 were into Warzone Execution. It was their game type. They didn't play the Respawn game types. And I think there were two on Gears 1. There was Annex and... was it Assassination? Assassination was basically like Guardian, if you've ever played the other Gears. But yeah, no one played those ones really. And if you were a decent player, you know you'd be into Warzone Execution. You'll know that was the way forward. And again, I'm not saying that this is shit, because I'm enjoying playing it. It's fun. But I would have preferred it if there were a Warzone Execution game type. That's just me as a sweaty Gears veteran, to be honest with you. And I can see why they wouldn't, maybe, just because they're trying to bring new people in, and they know that Warzone Execution is difficult. You know, it's not easy to get kills and stuff. You haven't got a lot of opportunities to get kills because there's only 4 available each round. And if you've got a couple of decent players on your team, the odds are they're going to be rushing for those kills. It's going to be making it harder for new people. Also, I suppose a good idea for the beta was to make it so that we couldn't party up. You can't party up with your friends on the beta. I know you will be able to on the retail game, but on the beta you can't. And I guess that's because, say like me for instance, I've got quite a few sweaty Gears friends who have been busting this beta out for a couple of days now. We'd all be teaming up, and we'd probably be beasting some noobs and frustrating some people who are new to the game. And I can understand why they do that. You know, it makes it a little fairer for those people who are trying to get into different games. One thing I don't understand though is that the way they've done sort of the team round switching sort of thing, if they're trying to make it random and make it fairer so that people aren't stacking teams in the betas to sort of bring new people in, what they should really be doing is when the game switches over to a new map, they should switch the teams over and mix them up again. Because I've still got into some games where I'm on a team with a complete set of noobs, and the other team all know what they're doing, and I'm pretty much struggling on my own, and then the game switches and the teams don't swap. So the team that were together previously will go, oh yeah, we'll stay in here with these guys and we'll beat some people, and my team, you know, end up saying, like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just going to stay here, and we get beasted. It would make it a lot fairer if you switch the teams round in between games, you know, like to mix it up a little more. Even though that'll probably be less of a problem during the main title, just because, you know, you'll have people stacking then and whatever. But also, I think that's got something to do with on Gears 1, you couldn't really party up in that sense. I think the only way you could get into the same game as your friends via invites was like private games and stuff like that. But if you were playing, say, ranked, you had to search for the same game as your friends and stuff, and that's the way people used to do it to get into the same games, was to try and search for the same thing. Because it was like you'd search and get a list of games, I believe, on the original one. So it's kind of different, I think. So the party system's never really been in Gears 1, you know what I mean? It's I think this is one of the original 360 titles, and there weren't even parties back then, were there? It was about private chat. Some of you may not even know about this stuff because it's very, very old. You're talking the original days of the 360. But I'm relatively happy with this. It feels like I'm playing Gears 1 in the sense of movement and shooting and the way things work. But I can see some of the Gears vets, or the people who've been playing Gears a very long time, saying this isn't Gears 1. I don't feel like I'm playing Gears 1 because of the way this is played. That was a blind fire, wasn't it? That was gross. That was actually a gross blind fire. But yeah, definitely one of my favourite titles. I'd say out of the 3, if you wanted to talk about which game is best, which one do I think is best, I'd say this is the game I've got the best memories on. This is the game that I've probably had the most fun with, just because of all the people I met on this game and all the funny times that I've had. Gears 2 and 3 are very good games. Gears 2, in my opinion, out of the ones I even count as Gears games, 1, 2 and 3, Gears 2 is probably the worst in the sense of the game actually being able to work. Gears 3 is the best in that sense. Gears 3 has the least issues in my opinion, my personal opinion. Things register a hell of a lot better on Gears 3. I really feel like Gears 1, for a lot of people, is their favourite one. But I know recently I've sort of like met a couple of guys who've been playing Gears 3 and whatever, and they all say, oh, Gears 2 is my favourite one, it's the one I had the best memories on, and it's kind of funny to see people who didn't really get into Gears 1, you know, and they think Gears 2 is incredible. But it's actually not. It was quite a terrible game, to be honest. But yeah, let me know what you think of the beta, though, if you agree with what I'm saying about round-based stuff. I feel like, although it does play like Gears 1, like I said, in the sense of movement and shooting and stuff, I can see why people would say it's not Gears 1. Let me know what you think if you're into Gears, or if you're not, let me know what you think of the game if you've managed to play it, if you've never played Gears before. Let me know if you think TDM is enjoyable, if you like it. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, take it easy.